Today, I'm just going to focus on the strategic part of sales. My own experience is that a lot of time bosses give us sales target, or as business owner, we set a sales target. And then we expect our sales team to run the numbers. And sometimes we get very marveled why the sales does not bring in the numbers. Is it common?
Yes.
A good sales guy, somehow they'll wiggle their way and bring you the numbers. Sometimes you don't know what happened to some month on month. You look at their sales pipeline, they may not be happening. Anybody want to guess why?
You don't qualify properly.
Good. What else? What
They
else?
cover the wrong people.
Okay. What else could?
From the sales guy, I'll say there's insufficient leads.
Why? I love the problems. Yeah, I love the problems.
For that market.
Okay. Okay, anyway, there are many reasons, but I always think that strategy must be the first part, and strategy encompasses not just sales, but a lot of other things. I'm Christina. For those who are online new to me, I'm a founder of Sales Symphony, a sales training, coaching, and advisory firm. So over the last 20 over years, I was primarily in tech sales. I pivoted to run my business in sales training and advisory because I realized that the sales community could do better if we can share our experience, so that we could help each other to improve our revenue and have less stress. So the sales success orchestrator methodology is what I have been personally practicing over the last 30 years of my sales career. It encompasses the 4S. First, I changed about 10 jobs. And every time I changed a new role, I did not want to go back to my ex-customers. So I literally started everything from scratch. If you are going from a totally new patch, or you are already an established company and you have new products and services you want to push to a new market, I hope that this formula can help you as well. You need to start with a strategy first. So just now we asked a fundamental question like, why do salespeople not do well? Sometimes it's because they may not have a clear direction. Like if I give you a banking sector, there are 300, 400 banks, right? So which one do you target first? So if I target the first bank, while it should be the last one, you may spend time chasing it, but by the time the clock ticks, you could not build your sales funnel. To analyze the 400 banks, understand where are the sweet spots, your time sheet. Then at the same time, always be aware of your personal branding. So of course, presentation is something that you can prepare, but same deck of slides, you talk differently for different people. And then complex account management, whether it's existing customer or brand new customer you want to open account with. So outer circle is what you can control. The inner circle is when you start interfacing with customer. So the inner circle is not drinking coffee for nothing. It has to be a sales element inside to progress the deal when you talk. And then networking, later on, we will just do live networking to see whether there's collaboration, right? Or, whatever follow-up you guys want to do. But networking has to be strategic to expand your market, but at the same time, you need to build rapport during networking. So I rather call it befriending, because once you build rapport, you can gain trust, and that's where asking questions, getting pertinent information like budget, all this the customer will share. So of course, this whole framework encompasses also customer service and customer relationship. So we want to be aware of the pitfall and then overcome it, and also to be able to understand the strategic failures and overview of strategy and how we could make it successful and refine and iterate. What do you think are the weak links in strategy?
I think my experience with strategy is a lot of people don't understand what is a strategy. So it's basically waking up and just do things what I think is necessary without really having a strategy. So if we can define what is a strategy and then define that strategy for the sales, that would actually help.
Okay, good. That means definition of strategy is not clear.
Correct.
Yeah. Because I've met business owner, I said, do you have a strategy? I have a strategy. So what is your strategy? I'm doing home SMB market, and that's it. So is that constituting a strategy? That's only identifying target market, right? Which sector?
I think strategy, confusion is always about, but not confusion, the challenge is really about what's short term, what's long term. I mean, coming from a sales organization, a lot of time it becomes very short term. It's like this quarter we need to get this, and that's it, right? Everyone forgets about the real strategy behind the strategy, the goal behind the goal. Everyone tells you the goal is to get, $20 million this quarter. But what is the real goal? No one knows that. And therefore, when someone just do all the short-term stuff, next quarter the company breaks apart again and they start all over again and they try to come up with something new again. It's because the strategy was too short-term. That's the issue.
You've got to own it, right? The salesperson has to be on board with the strategy. So there's a lot of time, I think, for salespeople to understand the products and services, understand how you differentiate, understand the company's strategy. It's a lot of investment in a salesperson at the beginning. You can't expect them to return in the first few quarters.
And sometimes bosses don't tell us the big plan. As a sales team, we are only given the number and we are just given territory. So if, let's say, I don't know if they're SDR here, but they're given like Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. Technically, should be able to hit quota, right? But it's not true.
That's going to be a lot of coaching and education.
Because sometimes the fundamental question is that where do I start? Do I start only Singapore? Because Singapore is like well connected for IT, right? So why do I spend time doing Philippines? Or because the buying power is different, the pricing also is, doesn't fit.
Sounds good. I think for me, it's just one comment is that I think given today's fast-paced environment, a lot of individuals are afraid to fail. Henceforth, before even they can embark on a strategic plan, they're actually worrying about what should my strategy be. Because they're just so worried that they will fail. And they just get stuck on moving forward, instead of trying to do something. So they spend time circling around what is my strategy instead of doing something.
So why is strategy important? So in my opinion, it's like we have shared no vision. I don't know where I'm going. So we become tactical, whether it's short-term or mid-term, right? Okay, what is a successful strategy? Also, it depends how. Does it mean that just because we hit a quarter means that it's a good strategy? But over long term, we probably may be a failing business. And that's what happened to people like Nokia, BlackBerry, and all that, right? Okay, so why do strategies fail? So in my opinion, is there a framework for people to have a common understanding of what a strategy is at a corporate level? If everybody has different definition of strategy, then nothing is going to align. How do we craft a robust strategy? So everybody may have their own definition. So when it comes to strategy, maybe it's also good to brainstorm even with your working team because they may know things that you do not know. And how to execute and sustain strategy, basically, in my opinion, is a tracking process, which a lot of big companies have CRM. Because what are the key parameters to track? So people who use CRM has this fallacy is that the more data I collect, the better I get. But in reality, the sales team may not want to spend so much time putting in the data. So what happened? They may not be putting in data that it actually need to put in, or the data become overkill. You lost focus because garbage in, garbage out. And then the whole fabric of strategy for accurate data analysis breaks. And if you interpret it wrongly, the data also has no meaning. So clarity of goals, skills, passion, of course, discipline, hard work, marketing team, broadcast, and then drive leads, inbound, outbound, dequalification, pursuit, and all that. In picture, it's simple, but in reality, it's difficult. The session today we want to deal with are actually pitfalls. So of course, strategy, like what we mentioned, is a dead killer if you don't have the right strategy. You need to have right mindset, resources, time, money, and talents, adaptability, expectation. Too high, then everybody get demoralized. Too low, not stretching your potential. And if you have good mindset, good strategy, no skill sets, don't give me a Ferrari, you probably see a lot of accidents. Of course, you have skill sets, but you don't do anything, it goes back to nil. So discipline. Common challenges that we have is very tactical, reactive. Some people just respond to tenders as and when they come, no pre-sales work done, right? Yeah, those I would say very reactive and tactical. Limited lead gen, just now you mentioned, right? I mean, one of you mentioned. Why do you say that there's inconsistent lead?
Messaging has to be consistent. Your frequency has to be consistent. Otherwise, you're not going to keep that pipeline?
So for big companies, they have the luxury of marketing funds. But if you're talking about Tech Week, it happens once a year. And you talk about seminars and all that, it's sporadic in the sense, although it's consistent, but for an event, let's say Dell has an event, IBM has an event, the leads that they generate may not be focused for everyone. So for salespeople like us, our marketing helps to strengthen the branding, but eventually the real leads still come from the sales team. Can I say it? Inbound lead is bonus. Inbound lead is a bonus, but it cannot be reliant all the time. Okay, so why inconsistent sales lead? Later on we'll cover. I think one of the key things is that getting focused and looking at your time and your calendar. If you don't park time, the leads will never come. So the problem most people have is that after they close a big deal, then they realize that they have not been building the funnel and they start all over again. So of course, low closure rate can be attributed to inadequate skill sets. And then of course, mindset. They think that they know it all. It's very common, right? After 20 years in sales, we are veteran, we have nothing to learn. And then when SaaS come into the picture, I mean, I've been inverted comma doing a lot of focus group, closed door, like just friendly chat, that some salespeople cannot pivot to do SaaS sales. I'm not sure how true this is, but even the tech company are all moving to SaaS. And the marketing and sales model and building structure is totally different. So they cannot figure like, I don't have a hardware, I don't have a system to sell. I'm just selling subscription. So of course, mindset need to grow. And if you don't sell, you get more stress and it's cyclical. So be strategic. Okay, so this round, we are going to cover through and see what are the missing gaps or the blind spots that we have missed. Hopefully that when we go back and look at our business, we have more awareness. So if you don't have a robust business plan, there's no need to look at your inbound and outbound leads because you may not have quality leads. How many of us have inbound leads that end up you call and follow up, you realize that they do not materialize? So the strategic approach, vision and mission. So I always tell my client is that, especially if you have a sales team, I also tell them that while the corporate vision and mission is pasted on the website or even at your canteen meeting room, how many people in your team actually internalizes that vision and mission? But at the same time, at a personal level, do you join a company where you align your personal mission and vision with your company? Because if not, that's why we have issues about internal motivation. So just for my example, why I'm passionate is not because what company I join, but I like the technology. If I believe in the technology, I join the company, I feel that my mission is to bring good technology to the industry. Or now I'm trying to help the sales community. I have a personal mission. So maybe this one is food for thought for all of us to look at whether in your next job or next role, some of us may be in transition, maybe, then go back to your personal mission as well. Yeah, because if not, you will have Monday blues. So trends like this are important. So especially for engagement with CXO, right? They are looking at higher level conversation where they want to understand if your technology is able to solve competitiveness, my productivity, anything that drives my revenue. So economic volatility are long-standing. It's not a trend. It is a statement. It's ever there. Then manpower shortage. That's why machine, all this come about. Then of course, generative AI is just progressive. It will translate to people want to cut costs. What? Better, cheaper, faster. Okay, productivity, automation, data analysis, increased competitiveness. And then what are the opportunities? So from a solution or consultative selling part, the questions should always gear towards a business component. What industry are you serving? What are their pain points? Yeah, if we cannot drive at the trends and the pain points, we cannot address the issue. So for salespeople out there, another possibility is for you to talk more to the working level. You know, sometimes we like to cover the high level, right? In the meeting room, they are not going to talk about too much of operational details. So then we talk about market segmentation, demographic, age, the size of the company and things like that. But psychographic is the one that is actually the killer. So when we come about in tech sales, usually we'll just talk about product, services, and solutions, right? But sometimes people embark on the technology because they want promotion. Some of them, they are semi-retired, so they buy this technology because they don't want too much problem, so that they can safely retire without shaking the boat. Some of them buy because they just want to be innovative. Anything that's new, they will just buy, or fear of losing out, or people use big brands like IBM, Oracle, because it is proven, right? Now the question the sales team has is that, is it easy to find the psychological part of it? How do you dig and find out?
I think first and foremost, for relationship, it is not born, it's not built over one day, right? And customers who has a business requirement, normally they will not share until they trust you. So we need to reach a certain level of comfort before we can start digging out, the desire, that psychographic requirement. Only then will it come out.
Yeah, so sometimes the working level will say, my boss came from the banking sector. Now he joined manufacturing. So he want to prove his worth. Then he will have a lot of initiatives. Behavior is also a different season, right? Some industry is year end. So for government tender is like from 1st April. So by October, you should have your budgetary quote out to secure some budget. So like construction, maybe renovation, all these maybe year end when there's school holiday, the renovation. So it's time-based. Yeah, different season. So demographic wise, just now we were sharing with another team is that if a company has 10,000 staff, does it look big? 10,000 staff. Look big, right? Let's say, for example, it's a manufacturing plant. 9,000 actually are production line workers. So the utilization of our IT equipment is only a barely 10,000. But if 10,000 in the bank, most of them are doing transaction over the infrastructure, IT infrastructure, then the buying power and the justification is a totally different paradigm shift. I actually work for one company where they said that, oh, we have a major account, and that major account is only 2 million. The competitors are coming like 50 million and above. When we want to understand the breakpoint in strategy, is also getting the right data and analyzing it in a way that is meaningful. So market mix, product, price, place, promotion. So I take it granted that price and product, you have already done your research. So the main thing we want to look to is actually the promotion, where product versus product, who is faster in bringing the word out in the market. Now the question is that who reaches who first? And the other one is who can kick who out first. Now what we're going to look into is the lead generation. This is something that, again, I think acquiring a new customer takes about 16 times more effort. So a lot of people like to look into referral. So when I was in COVID period, when I just started out, I was talking to a Taiwanese manufacturing. They have 3 to 5 anchor customers. But at that point in time, they panic because if one customer pull out, there's going to be a big drop in the revenue. So maybe as a team, maybe we want to review what customers do we have now. Are you at vulnerability point? Because your competitor also know that how long they have been with you. And they probably make an intelligent guess that it's about time I go and wreck the account. And number 2 is that when you have long-going customers, sometimes you become complacent. You may not be so competitive in your pricing. Okay, so for your reach out, this lead generation model is basically to tell you that there's more than one way to generate leads, of course. But number 2, more importantly, is that if you have limited budget, these are actually very effective and low cost model. So even like today, my little marketing cost is not a lot. So it's how you construct it. Of course, LinkedIn, how many of you are actively using LinkedIn to generate sales? Yes? No?
Not for me.
Do you need actually?
It's actually good for networking, but because today I spend a lot of time doing reviews, so I deal a lot more internal rather than external. Once in a while, I put on my sales hat and I go out and meet customers. So that's the life. But if I'm actually in the sales job, then I think LinkedIn is important, and being present in the networking events is important.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a sales trainer and coach, I always advise people to go seriously looking on LinkedIn. Sunil knows, right? Actually, we contacted like 2 years ago, but I continued this conversation with him because I commented on his post and it sort of like kept the relationship going. Okay, so EDM events and all that. So this one is an example of putting on a LinkedIn Live events. Okay, so all this we are familiar with. Now the problem is a tool is a tool. But if you do not have the skill set, a tool has no use. So there are people who use LinkedIn for many years but did not drive any leads, or maybe did not manage to find new jobs or opportunity. It's maybe because they do not know how to use it in the right manner. Look at your mechanism right there. It's not about the avenue. It's whether do you know how to use it. Partnership program is always there. Why is it US companies are so good in channel sales? I mean, when I was helping Aruba, I was amazed. They had 300 people, 2002. When I was distributor for them, they were still a very lean team, but over like 2 years, they were over many countries. And today, of course, you know, HPE bought over them. So US channel sales is superbly good. Okay. So of course, database qualification follow-up. Do you buy database?
Because it's just a list of names.
Isn't a list of names very important?
It depends on what you're trying to
And
sell.
also like what you mentioned, right, you get a ton of names like inbound, but not necessarily the quality names.
I bought a database of 3,000 companies, of course, the MNC and above. I milk it over 5 years and bought one at $600. I milk it over 3 years. And it was through calling and all that. I managed to start my business. This is a good discussion, right? Be sharp in how you define your demographic. Then that database will be extremely valuable. So, of course, this one is talking about competition. We all know about SWOT. But the key thing that makes or break is your ability to counteract. But sometimes in the first place, the SWOT analysis is not even updated regularly because technology moves so fast. All right. Let's say, for example, performance of the what do you have? Quantum computing now. Is your SWOT robust? Is it still updated? And after knowing it, what are your counteractive actions? Then, of course, SWOT, we all are very familiar, so I won't deep dive. But what I would suggest also is that have clarity how you drive your leads. If you see, okay, so certain industry, especially financial services, right? They really rely a lot on referral. My second question is that is referral predictable? Number 3 is that if people don't refer business to you, do you have a lot of free time? If you have free time, why are you not considering driving more leads? Then, of course, just now you mentioned about short and long sales cycle. Are you able to estimate the sales cycle, right? Okay, so you mark your sales cycle. Then, of course, in one of my Salesforce CRM, it is actually divided into 12 months. So my take is this. Of course, you guys can add in fragmented, right? Or blind spots, right? Okay, then, of course, lack of data or collecting the wrong data, no ground sensing. The good reports do you guys buy? So they are good, right? But sometimes it does not reflect the local market or the Asian market. And then your bosses start using the report to pressurize you. Why are you not delivering number? Right. So to me, nothing beats finding real people and asking the ground. I do a lot of like online survey when I do my cold call. So again, it's whether you want to be just a fundamental kind of call, or you want to talk to a deeper level where you can engage your customer in very deep conversation, talk about market trends. Okay. So of course, lack of finances means you can't grow, especially for startup, lack of talents, skills. Or I heard of startup telling me, oh, I employ so and so. And then when I dig the background, I realized that that guy's portfolio will never be a hunter. And she bled for 6 months.
Actually, if you look at it from perspective of sales, typical salesperson should know what is their product, where their playground, typically a sales cycle. And the challenge is always over time, right? Time is always a challenge, never the product. Because if the product is there, assuming that somebody will have already assessed the market. And then it is up to the salesperson to get this target within the specific time frame, which then the different mix of customer type, who comes first and who comes next, should all fall in place. Because at the end of the day, it's monthly budget that they need to manage.
Okay. So based on your observation, are most of the salespeople doing it?
Usually the experienced salesperson will do that. The newer salesperson will take time to figure.
So of course, discipline and market response. This is a map that I've constructed. So within a 5-minute networking, if you can construct your conversation, you can pre-qualify a lead, right? But if you do not handle that 5 minutes properly, you go for an event, you actually come back with 0 leads. Because we've gone through events where people tell us this is for a branding exercise, but is branding good enough? That within 5 minutes or 60 minutes, all these skill sets must come up. Fear can hamper our progress. Actually, cold calling is not scary. In fact, it's one of the best conduits. The big companies have inside sales, right? Those guys call every day. Sales development rep, they call every day. So if you are fearsome to call, you get 0 leads. One of the key fear people have is because they do not have the proper skill sets. So when they call, they did not construct the question well, or number 2, they get wrong database, they call, they face a lot of rejection. And that call for unnecessary rejection. So look at your database first and construct the sentence properly before you call. 2 or 3 things that really can differentiate you. So why some salespeople fail is because that elevator pitch is not clear when they do the opening. One, when we look at customers, sometimes we don't really define what kind of category they are. So these are the 10 that I listed out. The financial services use DISC to profile their customers. Not all salespeople go into a meeting, analyze the customer, but before, so you need to plug in certain questions to draw out to see what are their buying patterns. So for example, price, if the conversation is always, hey, how expensive is this? Then you know, right? Then of course, sometimes you want to be proactive. You can throw some questions like, what are your consideration when you're embarking on this technology? And then from there, size up. So customers who want performance will be, what are your data sheets? Are you on the Gartner chart? These are telltale signs. For innovative customers, especially we know who are those who are in the R&D mode. Do you all like complaints? Why do you all? Why are they good? So
you can turn it back into your sales strategy.
So actually, the people who complain are the ones who find faults with your problem, with your product. Those who don't even know their faults are a bit like, so you live with the problem, right? So actually, complaint is good. But what about customer service? If you look at the acronym that are broken down under customer, what to you think is most important to your customer? Or when you serve your customer, what do you think is your anchor point to win your customer?
I'll go for empathy,
Okay.
Empathy.
Okay.
That's the first thing that we want to make sure that we are with the customer.
I think I'll also go with empathy. I understand the problem and vice versa if I'm served by someone else.
Okay. What about the rest?
What's our result?
The solutions.
Okay.
Yeah, solutions or the product that I want, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Go with empathy, because if you look at it, right, if you actually empathize, the rest actually falls in line. Right? If you are actually mindful manners, thinking, usefulness, communication will fall like in place.
Yeah, basically frame in that direction. Yeah.
You know manners, I don't buy from you. Very interesting because afternoon session, like a lot of voices shout out solution. We have to be neutral because while we can say that customer may give us a lot of problem, we as salespeople also can be very problematic. Sometimes we have some pitfalls as well, but we can't say that always customers are bad because, I mean, I had this learning point from one client. I brought my pre-sales down. After the meeting, there are actually 4 potential projects. And we are a reasonably big tech company. After going back to discuss, what I was told is that we could do none of this project. So as a salesperson, what is your natural reaction?
From a company perspective, there are certain business guidelines.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's due to the business license. They cannot do such things, and therefore, no go. I have a situation whereby the customer needed a solution that will require us to bundle in the telco connectivity. Now, my business license does not allow us to resell telco services. So based on that restriction, then as a company, we have to decide we cannot play in this game.
I can fully understand. Sorry?
What I would do
Yes.
is I go back to the customer with a partner.
Ah.
Let me introduce you to this company who can do what you need. Then still maintain that relationship. Because now I've become a trusted advisor.
So
And
we are
actually, I think one of the things I've learned in my career is one of the best things is when you lose a deal, stay in touch.
or do post-mortem.
Yeah,
Like-
there was a deal, actually one of the first ones in Singapore, which we lost, and I kept in touch. And a year later, got it was
wow.
$40 million.
Wow. Good
Because the
example.
person that won started to fail. So just
Role
by
model.
keeping in touch, how's it going, checking, they said we should never have left you guys, we should have.
Good example.
Good.
Okay. Thank you for inspiring us. So do you want to hear the outcome of my story?
Yes, yeah.
Happened, the team told me we couldn't do, right? So as a sales, I felt very extremely embarrassed for my company. And I also felt that it was a letdown to my client or my prospect. We didn't manage to get into the account. And then as a salesperson, the third thing you want is to pick up that call and like shippily say, so, but I took out courage. Now I understand why people just quietly move off without informing. So when I told the client that I could do none of the project, I got a pat on my shoulder. He said, you are the only one who called me back. Because you call me back, next time whenever I have a project, I will call you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a learning point for me. Instead of shying away, which my competitors have done, I delivered a difficult news. But that authenticity and the courage to say that means a lot to them because they could close the loop with the boss. He probably had to spend some more time to call 2 more people to feedback to his boss. Okay, learning point. So from the CRM perspective, as I mentioned, it's not about the tool. You can have the best CRM tool, but if your sales team does not put in adequate information or it is false reporting, inaccurate pipeline, the CRM has no meaning. Number 2 is writing an email doesn't mean anything because it's human connection. And number 3 is not the frequency, it is the depth of the conversation. So of course, in Singapore, there are many channels that you can do Chinese New Year greeting. But my own opinion is that the more crowded it is, I don't touch my customer. Like now, when nobody greet them, I will greet them. So it's not the frequency, but the depth of the engagement. So another interesting story is I was under pressure by my boss. When I go to this major account, he will point to that sales guy, which is my competitor, and say, look, he is here every day. I want you to be here. And he challenged me to get my name tag, my from the customer and have a desk set out in the office. But later on, I realized that although the guy was there in our and he managed to convince his management to give him 0 quota to handle this major account. And eventually he won the account for 1 project. I met my customer in some food court. I said, I just joined this company. He said, don't touch us now because that project is in deep trouble. We are not going to buy anything from this guy or the company for the next couple of years. Yeah, so I just want to caution if there are account managers out there, you may want to rethink how you're going to structure your daily visit to your client. If you have any questions or challenges about sales strategy, you can send it to me through DM. We want to share ideas and solve problems, okay? Because we are very empathetic. So we will not go away without problem being solved or give some light that we can progress from our challenges and problems. What do you think?
I think you covered all the relevant areas in the sales kind of organization.
Okay.
Or team or department or whatever. And I think each of the area has its own weights in terms of how important it is for their team. I think for obviously some are sales leaders, some are currently selling, some are marketing. I think different areas will have different importance or different weight. I mean, if you are in marketing, then more in terms of what you covered in terms of lead generation and all that's important. If you are strictly a seller and don't think about anything else but just go out there and sell, then maybe those how to profile your customer, how to treat your customer, those are a lot more weightage than how to generate leads, because a lot of them actually don't generate leads today. They are actually going after leads that are given to them.
Okay.
So it's slightly different. And for me, in terms of future, I think it would be good if next subsequent
Yes.
you could focus on like one area, like I don't know how to generate leads. That's just one of the many areas that you have covered today. Then we can go deep. So maybe we can get audience that are interested in that one topic. So at least everyone will be having the same mindset when they come here is I'm here to learn how to generate leads.
So what were you expecting today?
No, today we were very clear that this is a
Strategy
overall,
overall? Okay.
rather than a specific.
I am going to have a series As sales professionals or business development people, lead is always one of the key things we want to address. So you know that within the different ways of generating leads, there will also be different kind of skill sets, right? Partnership conversation, networking conversation, and all this can be slightly varied. So it sounds very interesting. So of course, one topic we can also drive in is how to carry on difficult conversation with your customer.
Yeah.
Look like a small example, but it's actually a very difficult conversation. Yeah, I have to bring a bad news to my client when they depend on me to roll out their projects. Maybe for too long, we've been too comfortable with how we look at strategy. And maybe brainstorm with your working team as well. The ground input can reveal things that you never know. So take a season where you also select a few customers to get some input, because there may be pain points that they are experiencing, but they may not know that you actually will be the problem solver for them. Yeah. And that's where innovation will come in, right? Because their operational issues are always very dear to their hearts. So of course, the strategy perspective is a passive or an active one, right? So you are always constantly doing survey. Then of course you will get new ideas from a customer. So what is the next step? Type T if you want to have the template. Actually, for my clients, actually, I give them a template. After that, they can work as a team. So progressively, even after 3 months, 12 months, I finish my work with them. Year on year, they can use it. And of course, the template is live. They can add on new things as they go along. And then table up into your calendar. You want to have further chat with me, but you know anybody else in the marketplace who really need a handle to go through this strategy workshop with me. I'm having it on 16th of March. Okay, so of course, if it's a B2B, I do close door with you guys. Then we can discuss with your intimate team. So there are pros and cons with cross-functional or cross-industry is that you can borrow ideas like what we are doing now. Scan this. This is actually Sales Symphony Friends. I have a community. I will conclude that just be holistic and systematic. And then at the end of the day is to win deals, higher win rates. Hi, but you please support my new TikTok channel. Thank you. I overrun a little bit, but I think if y'all like, I want to keep you informed of the next session. So we close it as of now. Any other thing you want me to address, ladies and gentlemen?
No, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
session.
Yeah,
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Christina.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.